The ambition that many of us have, especially in an age of technological competence, to have everything under our control, is a false ambition, because you've only got to think for one moment, what would it be like if you did really know and control everything? Supposing we had a super colossal technology which could go to our wildest dreams of technological competence, so that everything that is going to happen would be foreknown, predicted, and everything would be under our control. Why, you know, it would be like making love to a plastic woman. There would be no surprise in it, no sudden answering touch, as when we touch another human being, it's not like touching something made of plastic. There comes out a response, something unexpected. And that's what we really want, when we want to relate to the other. You see, you can't experience the feeling you call self unless it's in contrast with the feeling of other. It's like known and unknown, light and dark, positive and negative. Other is necessary in order for you to feel self. So then, isn't that the arrangement you want? And so in the same way, couldn't you say the arrangement you want is not to remember? Memory is always, remember, a form of control. I've got it in mind, I remember it, I know your number. You're under control. Now, if you go on remembering and remembering and remembering, it's like writing on a piece of paper and going on writing and writing and writing until there's no white space left on the paper. Your memory is filled up. And so you need to wipe it all clean so that you have a white paper all over again and can begin to write on it once more. So that's what death does for us. It wipes the slate clean.
Journey that begins where everything ends.
Day 4.3. I have drastically underestimated the kind of internal strength it requires to stay awake this long. I would classify this mission as fail, because I no longer feel like a participant. The game had taken over my body and I was now a spectator, watching myself from afar.
So this is where they put you. Quite a message they're sending.
Yeah, and that message is...
out of sight, out of mind.
Spoken like a true troglodyte.
Slavery was not created by the white races, because it has existed throughout human history and practiced by every tribe, culture, civilization, racial group, and religion. In fact, the very word slavery has its root in the name Slav, based upon the Slavic peoples of Europe who were subjugated by other Europeans. It is not common knowledge that the Arabic word abd is synonymous with the meaning of slave. For example, Abdullah means literally the slave of Allah, and that in the language of the Arabs, all black peoples are called abid, plural, for slaves.
A frog is a cold-blooded animal, and humans are warm-blooded, so our body burns energy or perspires to maintain the same 98.6 degrees. The cold-blooded frog's body temperature goes up and down with the temperature of its surroundings. Although frogs love water, when I hold it over this pot of boiling water, this frog is very uncomfortable and climbs to get away from it. Now, the water in this pot is room temperature, 69.4 degrees, so he's comfortable when I put him in. If I turn the burner on low flame, his body temperature will adjust and slowly he will heat up with the water. The water temperature has risen to 80 degrees and the frog is the same temperature and still comfortable. If I turn up the burner slowly again, he won't notice because he'll continue to change to be the same as his surroundings. When we started, I held the frog over the first pot of boiling water. He was uncomfortable and he tried to get away from the heat. But now, because we're raising the temperature slowly, he doesn't recognize the danger he's in. He just keeps going along with the changes in his surroundings. Eventually, We can turn up the burner to a deadly boil. He will just keep trying to adjust with it. By the time he realizes it's killing him, it's too late. He won't notice in time because he just keeps changing himself to go along with the changes in his surroundings.
The scientist is a man who has learned how to think, at least about scientific matters. That's why he can do so many amazing things. But a scientist isn't supposed to believe anything much unless it's supported by evidence.
We're gonna do a song. We're gonna do a song that you never heard before.
Lame foot soldiers get croaked in my vicinity. The O for O murder, criminal activity. Diamond encrusted bracelets, escape death. Cars and yachts, upfront things that say success. So to the warden turns my electric chair on. Inside a LeBaron trunk, got Pakistan hair on. Nasir Jones, not a capo. The Picasso word painter, Black Sinatra, rap King Cole, gangster. Point blank body armor. I'm Valance, you the Dalai Lama. You just holla drama.
They are a secret network of international pirates who identify with no nation, no national flag, and no established religion. Their flag is the skull and crossbones, and their god, G-O-D, spells gold, oil, and drugs.
So we all have grown up, like I said, from under this slavery. We were not given this as anything real in our cultural understanding, in our cultural knowledge. We receive it under slavery. And therefore the lie becomes truth to us.
But we shall not rest for 1 hour, not 1 minute, until freedom and democracy have triumphed over the forces of evil. We will crush our enemies beneath our feet, lay waste their farms and towns, make their children our slaves. Long live democracy! Long live freedom!
What time is it? It's 10 to 4. No. The time is now.
Belief, faith, that's what they taught us. And that's what has undermined our entire dignity.
Okay.
So that's how we get the bamboozling of our entire mind and body and being put on the bondage, and we cannot regain our dignity unless we realize that there is a process that has bamboozled our ability to reason.
Over time, evidence that is incontrovertible comes your way. It will happen to you on each topic 3 times within your life. And by the 3rd time, if you haven't figured it out, your brain doesn't function. If by the 3rd time you've figured it out, you've demonstrated signs of being a normal human being. A normal human being learns things over time. That's why it's the 4th dimension. You cannot get all of the information crammed into 20 or 30 years. You can't even get it all crammed into one lifetime. Therefore, you must be reanimated a number of times over the millennia in order to acquire some information about everything.
Yeah. And remember also, a lot of our fans are desperate people, and a lot of them have student loans that are dragging them down, so they're coming to laugh.
Oh, they need to laugh. I mean, the last thing we want to do is remind them of those student loans. I mean, you know, we want to distract them from that crushing mountain of debt. I mean, let's face it, they're never going to get out from underneath that.
No, Dave, they are going to die with those loans in their bodies.
Yeah,
so we need to give them a good comedy show of fresh comedy ideas.
Yeah.
So what are you guys thinking about?
But don't you ever think as well, when You say we make people have this feeling of laughter and they pay us money. What if they discover they can do it themselves?
They can do it themselves.
Yeah, but why are they paying us?
They can't do it as well.
They can't do it as well.
We are a high-octane version of it. We're pros.
We're drugs, in a sense.
They can play touch football, too.
I want to tell them they can do it themselves.
They can watch each other play football.
Yeah, I mean...
But it's not like
there's
watching
a lot of things.
It doesn't hurt the NFL.
There's a lot of things that make you feel good, but cocaine's good every time.
The guys that make money on the Super Bowl aren't going, if people play football in their backyard, they're not going to watch this anymore.
But it's not like going to a doctor when you go, you know how it cost me to have my kid, next time I'm doing it myself.
Yeah.
It's not like that. You know what I mean? You need to go to the doctor, you need to
I bet you could, though.
In so many ways in life, we're kind of running away from ourselves. We were born as an individual. Every single human being was born in a completely unique creation. Your DNA, your experiences, your brain, the way it's wired, there'll never be another one like you. And always in life, we're running away from that. And we want other people to help us. We want other books to help us. We want a teacher to show us the way. We want to join a group that will suddenly bring us salvation. We think that if we belong to a church, they will be able to show us the way. And Emerson is saying it's all an illusion. You were born with everything that you need in life. You have resources and powers that you're not even aware of. If you were suddenly put on an island by yourself, you would find all of these resources within you, but in society, you kind of lose a sense of the power that you have and of this self-reliance.
Spoken word and writing is so crude a form of communication, if you were to really think about it. I mean, you're being very literal as to what you want to communicate, whereas if you don't use word or writing, you can communicate concepts.
People in this day and age are brainwashed and programmed like a computer at being nothing more than puppets. This nation, this country is founded in violence. Violent delights tend to have violent ends. Madness is something rare in individuals, but in groups, people, and ages, it is a rule. Killing is killing, whether done for duty, profit, or fun. Men murdered themselves into this democracy.
This thing goes both ways. It's not only that every little organism which exists depends on its total environment. The reverse is also true, that the total environment depends on each and every one of those little organisms. So that you could say this universe consists of an arrangement of pattern in which every event is essential to the whole thing.
I see. Black men die in their 50s, especially poor black men.
Yeah.
So he was ultimately preparing me for his death. My dad died at 55, right? The man across the street from me died at like 50. Like all the fathers in my neighborhood that actually did the job are dead. Now, all the junkies and winos I knew growing up are still alive. Like to this day, when I go to my old neighbor, I see guys like, you're still alive? And like getting high? And so it's almost like, did they figure it out? I don't know. It's like, when you see a black guy going crazy in the street, going zagazoozy or whatever, when I see a black man is going crazy, I don't know if he lost his mind or found his mind. It's like, maybe he knows this is all bullshit.